Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli, and I am your guide for everything Chinese astrology and feng shui, and incidentally Chinese medicine as well. And I set it up so us Westerners can understand it. Now, in this episode I want to talk about Chinese astrology and twins, and how is it possible for two people with basically the exact same chart to have radically different lives? Well, in a nutshell, because of two very important variables. First of all, their names. They are not the same. Just because you have a twin does not mean you have the exact same name as that twin, right? So, what does that have to do with anything? Well, your name does mean something. It has its meaning. For example, my name is Richard, which is German for Rachad, which is a hard ruler, or hard king, or tough king. So, if I'm kind of your boss at work, it might be a little difficult to work with. It got anglicized, obviously. So, a person's name has value. What is in a name? Actually, quite a bit. Second of all, you can't be in the exact same place at the exact same time doing the exact same thing. For those of you that have twins out there, did you sit in the exact same spot in school even though you may have attended the exact same class? No. You may have sat next to each other or on the other side of the room to keep the two of you from conspiring. And then when you got into middle school and high school, or junior high as the case may be, you took different classes at different times. Okay? Your interests are radically different, even though you have the exact same chart. So a lot of people would say, well, that invalidates any and all forms of astrology. Not entirely so. Because you are still subject to the most important variable of all in existence, freedom of choice. You have free will. And anybody who says your choice is meaningless, well, in that case, I don't know why you're alive. Because if your choices don't mean anything, then all you are is a puppet in the cog of a machine, and you do absolutely nothing. That if you're gone, there's nothing unique about you. You're meaningless. So why should you exist if you have no free will? It is my desire to make this video at this time. I could have made it earlier, and I did not, because I just decided not to. So if you want to really say that astrology is the end-all be-all, you're a fool. If you are saying that astrology, no matter what it is meaningless, you are equally as ridiculous, because we have numerous instances where it does work and a few things where it doesn't necessarily work because of either interpretation or personal biases, etc. Of course, you could say the exact same reason for why it does work. So, in the instance of twins, they do not live the exact same life, even though they look exactly the same, because you don't stand in the exact same spot. You don't eat the exact same meal. What are you talking about? We both had chicken and a baked potato and steamed vegetables last night for dinner. Yes, but you weren't eating the exact same pieces, okay? You weren't sitting in the exact same spot. You weren't lap sitting, and even then, that's still not the exact same spot. You still have freedom of choice, and your name does mean something. The way people call you is, and the way you call yourself is it has a quantum resonance to it, which changes what things will flow to you, okay? And if you don't agree with that, well, walk out and pick a different name and see how people respond to you. So, one of the things that you also find with twins is, even though they look exactly the same, they can also be born at completely different times of the day. I've run across twins that, yes, they were born on the same day, but in different hours. And in Chinese astrology, the hour makes all the difference. It can they'll both still be metal type people, or they will both still be wood type people, but the balance of elements is totally different, which means they are going to react to stimuli in a completely different way, which is going to change their destiny. By changing their destiny and the way events fold out in their lives, they will also change their personality, because not only is your personality subject, at least according to astrology, of how you were born, but it is also subject to the sum of your experiences. A person that lives a very, very hard life has the probable potential to become very, very hard themselves, and very cynical, and very unwilling to compromise on things, because they've seen and done all of that already, and it doesn't frickin' work. Whereas a person with a very easy life is often very laid back, very naive, and often very careless in how they behave, which of course carries a few things. So your life is also the sum of your experiences, and so is your personality. Anybody who has gone through a particular rough patch in their life, they don't often react well. It's really easy to be happy when life is going perfectly, and it's really easy to be angry and upset when life is not going the way you want it to. And yes, all of that may have some astrological connotations and could potentially be figured out in an astrological chart. However, again, you still have free will. You still have the ability to say yes or no, to pick one of several options of reaction or action in a given event. When all of these things pile up, two people born at roughly the same time can diverge very wildly. Also, not all twins are exact. I've actually come across several twins in my life, two men actually that I went to high school with. Although they were twins and had basically the exact same genetic code, with some minor variations, one of them was 4 inches shorter than the other, and his eyes were bigger, and his beard grew completely differently, and his personality was completely different, even though they were only separated by an hour and a half of birth time. Because the way you look has impact on the way people approach you. Anybody who says differently is kind of a fool. Okay? We respond to pretty people better than we do to people that aren't as pretty. Okay? So, just because two people are twins does not mean they are going to have the exact same personality and have the exact same life. They cannot date the same people. They cannot eat the exact same thing. They will not attend classes in the same place or at the exact same time while sitting in the exact same seat while interacting with the exact same people. Mom and dad, I'm sorry to say, they will not address them the same way. They won't have the same name. There's a lot of stuff with twins that is completely different. So, astrology only gives you tendencies. It is your place whether or not you want to go along with that. It's up to you. One of the aspects of being alive. So, I hope this cleared up a little bit. May have created more questions and answers. Oopsie. So if you're new to the channel, please feel free to hit a like and subscribe. Helps things out. And also feel free to visit my website at vigintmed.com. It stands for Vigorelli Integrated Medicine.com. I'll be back later with something else, but until then, take care and stay healthy.